up, my fellow Age Groupies? Welcome back to another episode of the Age Groupies Podcast, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Mike Ergo, and along with my co-host Lindsay Hiken, we're here to talk to you about all things related to endurance sports from an amateur athlete perspective. We talk about how to have fun along the way and make this sport a little less intimidating. You all can follow along and follow the show on Instagram at Age Groupies. Join our Age Groupies page on Facebook and look us up by name, Lindsay Hiken and Mike Ergo on Strava. If you have any questions, comments, or topic ideas, you guys, email us. We have an email address, and it is agegroupies@gmail.com. Hey, yeah, you listening right there. Yeah. If you enjoy the show, go right now, leave a rating, leave a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. That helps us get the show out there, get more people downloading, building our Age Groupie community. Good for you, good for us. Let's do it. Okay. Today's guest is Shay, Eskew, and I'm going to intro him during the interview. But you guys, you are going to love this story. Shay's a badass, and he is someone I've been looking forward to interviewing for a while. So we'll have all the links where you can get in contact with him in the show notes. But let's get to the episode and enjoy. Recording. Let's see, let me pull this up really quick. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Age Groupies Podcast. And today, my guest is Shay Eskew. Shay's an All-American, all-world ranked triathlete, former black bear researcher. We're going to get into that. Burn survivor with scars over 65% of his body. Best-selling author and sought-out motivational speaker. At the age of 8, Shay was set afire by a neighbor's child and credited with saving the life of his 7-year-old friend. Despite being told he'd never play sports again, enduring over 35 surgeries in the last 36 years, Shay is a 4-time Ironman, 4-time member of Team USA, 25-time Ironman 70.3 athlete, which I think that number has gone up, ranked top 1% of Ironman worldwide, and has competed in 11 triathlon world championships in 7 countries on 4 continents, including the big one, Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. Additionally, Shay is sponsored triathlete of Newton Running and First Endurance and a long-standing member of the Ironman Foundation Ambassador Team, from which I know him. Equally impressive, Shay is the proud father of 5 kids under 13, and I'm honored to call Shay a friend of mine. Shay, welcome to the show, brother.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. As I was reading that intro for you, I'm wondering how many of those numbers have changed?
Well, the 5 kids have stayed the same. We got a kitten instead.
Yeah.
A
little less maintenance.
I'm always a believer. If you're good in something, you keep doing it. But we stopped on that end. As far as the 70.3 events, I've done over 30 now. Did my last one March 1st in Patagonia.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
And yeah, I think most of the other stuff's pretty valid.
Yeah, that seems like the one problem with putting those things up there for you is those limits continually get pushed and broken and the numbers get added to. Do you ever have to go up to your website and update all those things?
Once a year, I update it, especially the number of races and the number of continents, because my goal is to race all 6 continents that Ironman has events. And so now I'm at 5. And so I've just got one more, which is Asia. Obviously, I'm going to hold off on that one just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just out there. Yeah, see, I think with a pandemic or a virus, the key is to do it either before or after. Unbeknownst to me and everyone else, I got mine done in China last year before it all went down. So you'll have a good time whenever this clears up. Well,
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Let me ask you about your one of your more recent races in Patagonia. How'd you get into that, first of all? And what was it like to go down there, South American race?
Mike, it was incredible. October 1st of 19, I was having a complete shoulder overhaul, torn rotator cuff, torn labrum, torn bicep. And the night before surgery, I was like, shit, I need something to keep me accountable. I know I need to go to my rehab. I want to race strong for 2020. Don't want to lose my status. So I was looking on Ironman's website. I was like, what is a kick-ass race that would just keep me so motivated to push through all the rehab? And I was like, Ironman Patagonia. God, that would be awesome. I've got the clothes. I've always dreamed of going to Patagonia. And then I saw it was March 1st, which was going to be right at 5 months after surgery or 4 months after surgery, something like that. And then my birthday is March 8th. I was like, man, this is a gift from God. This is an early gift to myself. So I told I signed up for the race the night before surgery. I told my wife about it after the surgery. And just said, hey.
Yeah. How does she do with that when you sign up for a race and tell her after?
Well, this one was good because I was still heavily medicated. I was bandaged, right? It's kind of hard to say anything. The other ones, I always tell her, babe, this is for you. I know you've wanted to go here. I'm giving you vacation.
Yeah, it's a win-win then.
Yeah. Like I remind her, everything I do is for you to love. Never forget that.
I love it.
Of course, she's always like, look, let's be honest. This is for you. Yes, I love the cool venues, the places we go, but let's just be honest. This is all about you. So she knows where we stand on that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you get down. How many connecting flights did you have to take to get down there?
Believe it or not, it was only 3 for me. So I had to go from Nashville to Atlanta to Buenos Aires, and then Buenos Aires to Bariloche. Now, coming back was different because I got a little scatterbrained and was doing some souvenir shopping in Bariloche, which is where the race was held in Patagonia. And then it's just kind of very lackadaisical in my schedule that day because I knew I had plenty of time to get to the airport. And for some reason, as I started driving to the airport, I was like, is my flight really at 2:00 today?
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so I pulled it up on my phone. That was my landing time in Buenos Aires. So the flight was actually taken off in 20 minutes, and I was 19 minutes away from the airport.
Oh,
so I had to call my wife. I was like, hey, listen, can you please see if there's another flight out of Bariloche to Buenos Aires anytime between 2 and 6 o'clock tonight? She's like, why the hell would I do that? You've already got a flight. I said, listen, now is not a time
about
to be asking questions. I just need you to please look. And she's like, no, there are no flights. So I rushed to the airport, going crazy, run to the ticket counter. The flight's already left. I said, are there any more flights? So they said, yeah, there is one. So I booked it and was leaving 2 hours later. And so when I land, I said, all right, where's the Delta terminal? They said, there is no Delta terminal here. You must be flying out of the international airport. I said, international?
Oh.
They said, yeah, there's 2 airports in Buenos Aires. You must not have told them.
Oh,
National
man.
Airport was an hour away. And so I had 2 hours before my flight home to Nashville. And so I found some random stranger in the parking lot because the cabs only take cash. I didn't have cash. Who said he had some kind of swipe reader for my credit card. So I found a random guy in the parking lot to drive me from Buenos Aires from their local airport to the international airport and still made my flight home. But yeah, it was quite an adventure.
So you did a half Ironman and had an adventure race on the way back.
Oh yeah, dude. All these flashes of having to call my wife, tell her I was going to be a day or 2 late because I was souvenir shopping. I was like, she's going to kill me.
She's going to murder me in my sleep.
It all worked out. I just kept just like Iron Man. Like, stuff's going to go wrong. Just stay calm. Don't panic. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah. So let's get into that. How'd you get into the sport? I mean, you've done a lot of different things in your life. I mean, you've wrestled, you played baseball, you've boxed, you've been a black bear researcher. Let me ask you about that really quick.
Yeah.
Why bears? How'd you get into that?
It's interesting. So in college, kind of had this epiphany that I no longer wanted to be an architect. I had spent time with an architect who was building the Georgia Dome. And then once he kind of highlighted for me, this is what your career is going to look like. And by the way, you'd only be making $30,000 drawing bathrooms and closets and something like this.
Oof.
And somebody goes, what excites you? What's something you're passionate about? I said, look, I love the outdoors. I love animals. So I went back to college, changed my major, decided to become a wildlife major. And it just so happened that one of my professors was a world-renowned black bear biologist. And he actually had the longest ongoing black bear study in the world that he was conducting. And he was asking the students, hey, would anybody want to spend the next 6 months trapping bears, doing research on them? And the prize is $75 a week. And you live in a trailer in the middle of the woods, no air conditioning, no TV, no telephone, nothing. Just you and 3 other researchers living in the woods. I was like, are you kidding me? We get paid to do this shit? Hell yeah. So I signed up for it, spent 6 months. We called over 150 black bears, got attacked by one briefly, got some really cool stories, got to work with the red wolves that were being reintroduced into the Great Smoky Mountains. Unbelievable experience. I'm always one of those people, I don't focus on money. I focus on experiences. Like I always feel like money is a byproduct of your passion, but it's all about maximizing the experiences, right? And all I can think is like, when I get older, I'm going to look back and say, man, this was unreal. I had this kind of opportunity. And it truly was. I mean, the things that you see living in the woods every single day, it's unreal.
Yeah, I imagine that's an experience that not many people, the last 2 centuries have had. But so you got attacked by one once. Ever thought you were going to die?
That one, I didn't think I was going to die, but I thought I was going to lose my arm because we did live capture. So we used a 6-foot piece of aircraft cable, 1/4 inch. One end was attached to a tree. The other end is a cinching foot loop that you would bait them in and catch them by one leg. And so the bear could run around the tree 6 feet in any direction. And once the bear was caught, we would come in with a 3-foot aluminum pole with a syringe mounted on the end of it. And one guy's job was to distract the bear. The other guy's job was to poke the bear in the hip. Keep in mind, the bear's awake while you're doing this, right? And
yes, right.
All those math
and they don't want to get this shot.
So for all the math majors there, the bear had 6 foot of lead plus his reach. I had a 3-foot aluminum pole with a syringe mounted on it. And so one day the bear was all tangled up in the cable. I was concerned that the bear was severely hurt, wasn't moving. I walked right up to the bear, was not moving whatsoever. And so I was going to sedate him so I could untangle him, but it takes 20 minutes for the drug to work. So as soon as I poke him in the hip with the syringe, all of a sudden he moves and he's untangled. He's got 6 foot of lead right there at his foot. I'm like, holy crap, I've got to outrun this bear for the next 6 feet. I don't have time to turn. I just backpedal as fast as I can. The bear takes 2 steps, lunges for me. He reaches his claws out. He's got his mouth open. And I start screaming. He reaches out with his claw and the lead runs out. But when he does, he grabs a hold of my arm, rips the sleeve off my shirt, left a claw mark all the way down my arm. And I start screaming because I really think my arm just got ripped off. You just feel something grab you.
Oh my God. The force of that must have been incredible.
Yeah. And my buddy just starts yelling and he goes, "You're screaming like a little bitch." And I look down and there's my arm. It's fully intact with a little bit of blood. Shirts, I was like, oh my God. It took me about 15 minutes to kind of say, all right, you're good. And by then the bear was sedated, worked it up, released it. We had to carry on our day. But that was my infamous bear attack that day.
That's what friends are for, right? To laugh at you when you're down and possibly getting attacked by a bear.
I mean, 100%. We had won charges. I took another buddy of mine out there. I was going to show them where they were reintroducing the wolves. And I was educating them along the way. Listen, if we see a wild bear, they're scared of humans. There's nothing for you to worry about. If we see a black bear, just make yourself look as big as possible, make a lot of noise. And as we're walking, we come across a bear probably 50 meters away. and a big patch of huckleberry just eating. And I said, Jim, watch this. We're going to scare this bear. And he's like, what? I said, watch this. So all of a sudden I jump up, I'm holding my arms up and I'm screaming like, hey bear, hey bear. This bear stands up on its hind legs and it starts sniffing, trying to get our scent. And all of a sudden it comes down on all four and then it starts slamming its front paws in the ground. And then their ears go back and they start blowing. They go, and that's letting you know they're coming. And I was telling my wife, I said, hey, listen, he's about to charge us. Whatever you do, do not run. Don't panic. Just keep looking as big as possible. The whole time I'm thinking to myself, oh, shit.
That's a tall order.
Right? So I'm standing there. I'm yelling, hey, bear, hey, bear. And this thing starts running at its full speed. They run up to 35 miles an hour. He gets within 15 meters of us. Then he stops and he starts walking towards us like he's going to pounce. I was like, oh, shit, this is for real. It's about to go down. So I'm sitting there looking around me to see what there is. And so I picked up a log that's probably 2 feet. And I pick it up. My endorphins are running through me. Now I'm screaming, hey, bear, come on, hey! This bear gets within 5 feet of me, finally catches my scent, takes off, leaves us. My heart's coming through my chest, and I turn around and look at my buddy, Jim. I was like, how about that shit? That was pretty close. He goes, dude, 2 more feet, you were on your own. Sorry. But
yeah, right.
You know? But I mean, we had so many crazy experiences like that. You just can't put a price tag on that. And it's not something now at 46 I could go back and do, but at 22 years old, no responsibility, why wouldn't I do something like that?
And then, so this only makes sense, I guess, if we back up a sense until, you know, you're a child and you nearly died, had to go through multiple surgeries, got badly burned, scars over half your body. How, once you walk us through, give us the summary of that and why you got started on this crazy path that's your life now.
Yeah. You know, for me, life really started August 4th, 1982. I was 8 years old. My mom had asked me to walk across the street and warn my neighbor that they had an aggressive yellow jacket's nest in the ground that the day before had swarmed my entire bicycle. My buddy Jeff was 7, was over at my house, so I recruited him. We walked across the street. We knocked on the door. The dad wasn't home, but the 15-year-old daughter was. I proceeded to tell her about the yellow jacket's nest, and she asked, hey, would you guys help me get rid of it? I'm like, what do you want us to do? She goes, I just need you to watch to make sure they don't leave. So we walked down the driveway. We pointed to the nest. The yellow jackets are flying in and out. She walks up to the nest with a match, lights it, throws it down. But we all know a match in and of itself does nothing, you know? So we're standing there watching. Next thing we know, she's standing behind us. And we're about 10 feet away from that match. And she tosses a cup of gasoline between us. And when she pitched it, it hit my right shoulder, my right side of my face, hit my buddy's left side of his body, hit that match with an instant. We were engulfed in flames. Again, we had no idea she was using gas or throwing it. Luckily, I had the wherewithal to stop, drop, and roll. Still was, burned a good portion of my body because the gasoline. Got a hose, put my buddy out. And I remember just standing there, alternating the hose over the top of our heads. People always say, what did it feel like? And honestly, Mike, I don't know if you can describe that level of pain. Like we've all at some point have put our hand on a kitchen eye and burned it. Multiply that times 100. Imagine that's your entire body. When I touched my head, all of my hair came out. My skin was blackened and charred. It was melted, literally falling off my body. My clothes were stuck to my body. And I remember looking at my buddy. I was like, oh my God, do I look like that? You couldn't even recognize it, right? Because you're so charred. And so that's kind of what set things in motion for me. We didn't have insurance. For some reason, my father's employment had canceled insurance and dependents. My parents, probably because we just didn't have any money, didn't secure insurance. The girl that set us on fire, her homeowners denied liability for it. And we were now left with a $2 million hospital. Fortunately for us, the Shriners Hospital in Cincinnati heard about us. I was living in Atlanta at the time. They relocated my mother and I from Atlanta to Cincinnati. I spent the next 3 months up there. A lot of complications set in. Lost my right ear to gangrene. Lost my first 3 skin grafts to infection. And so for those people that aren't familiar with what a skin graft is, it's where they take healthy skin from one part of your body and transplant it to another. Before it was all said and done, they took all the skin off my right leg from my hip to my ankle all the way around. They took all the skin off my left leg from my hip to my knee all the way around. They came back, took skin 8x14 off of my right leg again. They took a section 8x11 off my back. They took a section 4x8 out of my stomach, essentially a tummy tuck on the right side. I was a little upset they didn't take any from the left side to level me out there.
Balance you out.
And then they even took a section 3x6 off my buttocks, and that made me very uncomfortable. I told the doctor, please don't tell me where you put that. Strangely enough, now, every time my butt itches and I scratch my face, I'm starting to wonder where they And then to make, matters worse, I talked about the infection, but my right arm was physically melted to my body. It took over 3 years for me to lift my arm over my head. Every 3 months, they would cut my arm because it had webbed. And they would take skin off one part of my body and sew it into my armpit. And so during those 3 years, I had to learn how to write left-handed to finish the 3rd grade. So I learned how to do everything left-handed. Brush your teeth, go to the bathroom, do my schoolwork. I even learned how to throw left-handed. So it was a very challenging time, as an 8-year-old. And I think we all know how loving and supportive 8-year-olds can be. When I went back to school, and it's hard for people that see me now to even understand, but my scars were a 1/2 inch thick. I look like something out of a movie. And, fortunately, Wes Craven released his movie Nightmare on Elm Street at the same time.
Fortunately for you, right?
Yeah, it's just great timing. And kids at school called me Freddy Krueger. And literally, when I looked in the mirror, that's what I saw. I saw Freddy Krueger staring back at me. And it got so bad where I didn't even want to look at myself in the mirror. Or if I did, I would turn my head to the side so that I could only see the good side, the unburned side. And cried myself to sleep for months. Prayed, begged, asked my parents to fix this. And, there's nothing you can do about it. And then finally, that's kind of when I had that realization, look, this is you. This is as good as it's going to get, brother. It's time to suck it up. And those kids are always going to make fun of you. So you need to learn how to make the most of it. You need to learn how to laugh at yourself. And so when I went back to school and those same kids started calling me Freddy Krueger in the hallways, I would say, yes, I will see you in your dreams tonight.
Oh, that's a good one. How many kids looked like just ghosty white after you said that?
They just speechless. I guarantee you they didn't say it twice.
Yeah.
And then, Mike, it's even those things like when I would go to the pool, people would always say, where's your ear? And you're like, what are you talking about? They're like, you don't have a right ear. And I'd reach up, like, oh, shit, I don't. I was like, I was trying to do a gainer off the diving board a while ago, and I hit my head. I didn't think anything about it. Literally, I can't tell you how many times I've had kids looking for my ear in the pool.
Diving to the bottom, scraping.
And it's usually kids younger than me. So I always knew that they couldn't swim down all the way to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
That's always the key because they'd swim down like 4 feet, come up out of breath, like, oh my God, I can't get it. And then if you see my scars, you could really appreciate it. But like my right arm, there's a big chunk out of my arm. Whereas I grew, my arm wouldn't grow because of the scar tissue. And so my right arm was physically 2.5 inches smaller than my left arm. So to remedy that, they cut me from the top of my shoulder to the inside of my bicep and took skin out of my leg again. And for 10 years, you could literally put 2 fingers in the middle of my arm and they would sink in. You couldn't see them. And so when I would go to the beach, people asked, what happened to your arm? It looked like something just took a big chunk out of my arm.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're not going to believe this. But yesterday, I was out there in the water about waist deep looking for sand dollars. And when I reached down to grab one, a shark came up and grabbed me. Ripped my ear off, took a big chunk out of my arm. Thank God my dad was with me. He's pulling on me. The shark's tugging. And if you could see the look on these people's face when you tell them you got attacked by a shark, they're terrified.
Yeah, it's like they realized they didn't want to ask that question.
Yeah.
But not until it's too late.
And so I've had all kinds of stories. I've been attacked by piranhas. I was on a plane crash, the only one that survived. I had to eat my own ear to survive. I mean, and so you just learn, make the most of it. We all have imperfections. And once you embrace it, nobody else cares. But it's when you feel insecure about your imperfections, you start projecting that weakness to the rest of the world. And I think as a result of getting burned, it forced me to grow up. It forced me to harden up. We weren't given pain medication. You know what we got for pain meds when I was a kid? We didn't get morphine. We weren't in an induced coma. I got extra strength Tylenol. They physically.
That's wild to think about.
Dude, they
extra strength Tylenol.
Yeah, they physically cut off most of my ear while I was awake with a pair of scissors, surgical scissors. As the gangrene was spreading, the doctor would come by every couple of days, pull out his scissors out of his white coat, clip off part of my ear and say, all right, it's bleeding. We still have healthy tissue. Let's see how that heals. And this is what I went through for, 4 weeks. But as a result of it, I'm not addicted to pain meds. I have a high tolerance for pain, and I think that's why I got into Ironman. But when you spend so much time in a hospital and you look around that hospital room, like every morning when I would look around, I've got a kid next to me that's 2 years old, fully wrapped in bandages. With tubes in his nose, because that's how we were fed for the first 4 weeks there. I got a guy next to me that was set on fire by his mother's boyfriend. Burned 90% of his body. He had no eyelids, no nose, nubs for fingers. And you see these people smiling every day, and you're like, who the heck am I to complain? Look at the
when it's relative like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just, for me, my whole life has been about that. It's always relative. That no matter what you're going through, somebody else is going through something worse, and they're not only surviving, but they're thriving.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to change your perspective, that it may be uncomfortable, but you're going to make it.
You think people who haven't had these extreme experiences like you can find that perspective?
I think they can. I don't think it's easy, but I think anything in life worth having isn't easy. It's what are you willing to do? Like for me, it didn't just stop there, right? Everybody's like, oh, it must have been horrible as a kid. Yeah, it sucked. But I've had shit my whole life. I've had so many things go wrong. But I know that when I come through these things, I'm going to be stronger. I'm growing as a result of it. But the things you can do, it's the things that we do, Mike, as part of our training is introduce stress daily. Practice being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And a lot of people, they're just, when that starts hurting, they do something, they quit. They say, gosh, it hurts. I shouldn't be doing it.
Right. They misinterpret the discomfort as something that's bad.
Yeah. And to me, the discomfort tells me, hey, man, you're alive. God, you're doing something freaking amazing. 99% of the people would stop. Think how awesome this is because you're getting to experience what nobody else is willing to do. That's the time that we keep pushing. And I think once you get comfortable with that feeling, things open up. Like, as you mentioned, I've got 5 kids. My oldest, my daughter, super competitive athlete. And man, I just love her competitive spirit. So one of the things I'll do is I'll go run with her. And I don't make her run my pace, but I'll take her right to her limit. And I'm like, how do you feel, babe? And I can see the tears coming up in her eyes. Dad, I'm hurt. I said, that's right. Are you dying? No. I said, I want you to know this feeling. I want you to remember this feeling. When you feel this, just know you're okay. You're going to make it, right?
Yeah.
But we intentionally get in those modes so that she doesn't panic, say, oh my God, my heart's going to die. Life's over. You know, none of
Yeah.
us, I don't think, will ever go that hard. The body just is physically incapable. Some of us maybe could, but the vast majority of people won't. And so those are things I do with my kids. Like my little 8-year-old, and you may have seen it, but I did a video of him. This little turd did a 10-minute plank the other day.
Oh my God, 10 minutes?
Dude.
8 years old?
Yeah. And so he started out on his elbows.
Oh man.
And halfway through, he goes, Dad, can I go straight arm? I said, only if you don't stretch. I I better not see you bending your back, because I had made a bet with him that, all right, if anybody can do a 10-minute plank, anybody, no school for you guys tomorrow because we're homeschooling all 5 days.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty safe bet, right? And this kid has so much resolve in his eyes. He's like, Dad, I'm going to do it. I was like, dude, it's bedtime. Try it tomorrow. No, Dad, I'm going to do it. I said, all right, buddy. And this little guy, 5 minutes, he's like, Dad, where am I? I said, you're halfway. And so that's when he went from on his elbows up to straight arm. And we're doing 6 minutes, 7 minutes. So that's when I started feeling, I was like, all right, buddy, you're getting there. Anybody can do anything for 3 minutes. And so we started counting it down. And you could see him, he's starting to tremble, and he's got some tears in his eyes. And when it was 10 seconds before the 10-minute one, he goes, Dad, how much longer? I said, 10 seconds. And I waited 10 seconds. He goes, how much longer? I said, 5 seconds, buddy. And then I waited another 5 seconds. I said, 5 more seconds, Beckett. He goes, you just said 5 seconds. And I said, are you done? And he's fighting back tears. He goes, are you done?
Oh, wow.
I mean, he was just so fired up, and he's crying, fighting back the tears. I said, all right, we're done. And the whole time he didn't quit. He's still holding this plank while he's yelling at me, fighting back tears. And then he just breaks down crying. And I lay down on the floor, and I was like, buddy, I am so proud of you. Oh my God. I didn't think you could do that. I can't do it. And then
he's got like a superhero academy going in.
And then he smiles. He goes, no school tomorrow, Dad. And then he runs upstairs. He goes, Olivia Maddox, no school tomorrow. And they're like, what? And he's just running through the hallways.
Victory lap.
And just witnessing those kind of things. Those are things you can do at home. And so, like, in our house, we do wall sit challenges. You know what a wall sit is?
Mm-hmm. Right. Where it's like you're sitting in an invisible chair, basically, against the wall.
So I made a bet with my 10-year-old. If he could go 5 minutes without breaking, I'd give him $5. The little shit did. I couldn't believe it. Again, I thought, and the whole time I'm doing it with him, I'm like, God, why are you shaking? You need to quit. Your legs look awful shaky. There's no way you can do it. I'm just trying to get all up in his head. I was like, look, this is too much for a 10-year-old. You just need to quit right now. But these are things that I think anybody can do to build up that mental resolve. You know? Mm-hmm. But so many of us, we're looking for the easy way.
Right. What's the least amount of energy I can put in this, or how can I avoid the suffering or the discomfort? Like, how can I avoid that and go around it?
And for me, like with all this stuff, like anytime I'm facing some kind of an adversity, again, I've just kind of programmed myself. It's to say, instead of saying, why me? I respond by saying, can you imagine how awesome I'm going to be when I get through this? I'm going to be able to do stuff that nobody ever thought possible. And so I have intentionally programmed myself that I look forward to the hard things because I know this is when I shine because everybody else quits. And, the things that I do daily is I have a routine. I get up every morning at 4 a.m. I make coffee. I eat 2 frozen blueberry waffles, and I read inspirational books for 30 minutes. You will never catch me reading a Nicholas Sparks movie. You will never catch me watching a Hallmark movie. And it's not that I don't believe that sad things don't exist, but I don't want those things to enter into my mind. Like, I don't want to read about somebody cheating on their spouse and then them dying.
Yeah.
right? I want to read the story about Ernest Shackleton. I want to read about Colin O'Brady and trekking across Antarctica. I want to read about people that did unimaginable things, because I know that when, not if, when something bad happens, my brain is programmed by default. We're going to get through this. And my brain starts going through that mental library of all these stories I've read about and say, all right, what can I apply to this situation? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just kind of things I believe. You're just reaffirming daily what you believe in. You're training your brain. And you may have heard it, but there's a part of your brain that's called the RAS, reticular activating system. And it's a part of our brain that has a filter in it. And it brings our brain more of what we want as opposed to what we don't want in life. Okay. And so what we need to do is program our brain. These are the things that we want. We don't let it just go out and bring things to us. For instance, if you're in an airport and they say, Shay Eskew, please come to security, my brain catches that. Somehow it filters out the 1,000 other names it's called out for the past hour. But as soon as it hears your name, because that's within that filter, you perk up. And that's why when you do these things daily, you're building that into your filter, your RAS of your brain. Right? And so when you see things going on every single day, your brain says, hey, that's important. You need to focus. You can apply this to your life. And that's where I've seen a huge growth in my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in the past 12 years.
Well, I want to ask you about that too, because it segues nicely into these audacious goals that you set for yourself. And I'm opening a copy of your book right now. And when you talk about Kona and your lead up to that, you said that when you were peaking, you're training about 25 hours a week, still working full time, still taking care of your family. And you had people who didn't believe you could do it. And you say, so many try to talk you out of audacious goals because they are too scared to pursue their own. How did you figure that out? And what do you do with it when people are naysaying?
My whole life, I've had a chip on my shoulder. Doctors told me when I first got burned, you'll never play sports again. And for me, I think we're all somewhat motivated by that. Like if I said, Mike, you can never have chocolate ice cream again. All of a sudden you're like,
that's the first.
Right? All of a sudden you're like, dang, I want some chocolate ice cream. Just like when there was the social containment, whether you like being outside or not, the moment somebody says you can't do something, you want to do it.
Exactly. All of a sudden we have everybody who's going out running for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah. Which I love it. And
yeah.
But so when I start setting goals, I don't want to be average. That's never attracted me. I want to do stuff that most people would never attempt. And I'm okay failing, because for me, trying is not a failure. It's the people that never attempt to try. But I know if I keep trying long enough, I'm going to fail my way to success. And I can tell you, the people that always try to talk me out of doing stuff, when I start looking at what they've achieved in their life, it's not very impressive. And that's why I intentionally surround myself with people like you, people that are in the Ironman Foundation that have done crazy shit,
Yeah.
It's these people, when I say, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to race Ironman Patagonia, they don't say, what? Why would you do that? They're like, dude, that's awesome. I wish I could go. And I'm like, you can. Here's how much it costs. Come on, stay with me. But those are the kind of people you surround yourself with. To give you an example, so last year, a buddy of mine, Jack Daly, he's the one that got me to write my book, What the Fire Ignited. He said, Shay, a group of us are going to do the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim run. It's a little over 50 miles. It's about 112 degrees, 20,000 feet of elevation gain. We're going to do it the end of July. You want to do it? I was like, hell yeah, I'm in. And I told my wife, and I said, hey, babe, I hope this is okay, but I just committed to do the rim to rim to rim run in the Grand Canyon.
She can't be fazed by this point, right?
She's like, but hey, look, I don't care what you do. You're a smart guy, but you can't sweat on a third of your body. You know you're prone to severe dehydration. Every Ironman, you're urinating blood in the race. Is this really smart? I said, well, first off, when Jack asks you to do something, you don't say no. Jack is 70. So that's the guy I'm doing this with. He's 70.
Yeah.
How do you tell a 70-year-old, sorry, I can't do it? And I said, second, babe, I will condition my body. Just like when I did Kona, I spent 5 months weighing myself 5 times a day. I calculated my sweat rate. I measured every ounce of fluid going in and out of my body, engaged a dietitian. I know I sweat 5 pounds every hour in extreme heat. I said, so I will do it safely. But it's just those things, like you accept those kind of challenges. You don't overthink it. There's those people in life that are always looking for a reason why they can't do something. I try to always look for a reason why I can, right? Because I don't care what it is. You can always find a reason not to do something. You know, people say, well, I'm not going to have kids till I have a certain amount of money. Well, guess what? You'll never have the right amount of money to have kids. Never.
Yeah,
And,
no kidding.
you know, and there's no equation that says it makes sense to have 5 kids. God, if I really thought through that and said, hey, is this really smart? Think how much I would have missed out on. Dude, my life started when I had my kids. You know, it's hard to imagine you could love one kid as much as another one. Each one is so different. And I keep thinking, I would have robbed myself of so much joy had I quit after 1, 2, 3, or even 4 kids. My last one, little Stella, we almost lost her when she was 2 years old. She had complications from a febrile seizure. She aspirated, destroyed her lungs. She had to be in an induced coma for 8 days. Blood clot set in her leg. We thought might have to amputate her leg. But now this girl is a warrior princess, dude. She is nuts. I mean, she's just balls to the wall, run through brick wall. I think, God, I would have missed out on all this stuff had I listened to all the people that told me how dumb it was to have this many kids. If this is dumb, I want to be dumb every single day, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I really respect about you among a lot of traits is that you take things that turn people away, challenges, you take people's negativity and you turn that into fuel.
Yeah.
And you don't let it hinder you. In fact, you have learned how to harness that energy to propel yourself forward, which I think is something that a lot of us could gain by doing.
Yeah, I think, you know, in life, you just can't listen to people. You know, people by nature, I think, are scared. You know, they want people
Yeah.
to assure them everything's going to be easy. And that's one of the first things I teach my kids is, look, life's not easy. It's not fair. And if anybody ever tells you that, they're lying, right? It's meant to be tough, but that's what makes it so rewarding. There's a ton of studies out there showing that if you always had an easy life, it's hard for you to truly be happy because you don't know what true unhappiness is until you experience it. But like if you have truly hit rock bottom, anything above that is happiness, right? It's that delta, right? And trust me, I've hit rock bottom. I know what it looks like. It doesn't scare me because I know I will survive. I know I will do whatever it takes to pull myself up. But that's why for me, it's so comforting to be able to do the things I do. Like before every surgery, you will find me exercising in the hospital room because I tell myself that if I wake up and I can't do what I did before I had that surgery, I'm okay with it. I made use of every minute of every talent I had. No regrets.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't say that. You know, all these things you're putting off, we're not promised tomorrow. I can tell you, I know so many people that said, hey, when I retire, I'm going to take these trips all around the world. Well, I can tell you, my father-in-law died 6 months before he retired. They didn't travel anywhere. I take all my dream trips now. I take my kids on these because I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't want to live a life of regret. You know, we're going to do what we can today and make the most of it.
What keeps you motivated to keep going? Is it to pass this on to your kids, to continue on this lifestyle that you've learned through pain and discomfort and turn it into triumph?
My kids are a big driving factor of it. I'm a believer that you don't tell your kids how to live, you show them how to live. There's nothing that gets me more worked up than watching these, I don't know how to say it politely, but out of shape couch potatoes yelling at their kids at youth sports on
Oh,
weekends.
that's
I'm
the
like,
worst.
it makes me so mad. Like, I never yell at my kids. I'm like, all I care is, did you have fun? Did you give it your best? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
This is up to you. You've got a coach. It's not me, but the parents that I see that are going nuts usually are the ones that were not former athletes or they're not athletes now. And so I just want to demonstrate to my kids, this is how we live. Like, exercise is a gift. Use it or lose it. But I promise if you can tap into it, there's a whole world you never know existed. Like, my kids seen so much of the world through Ironman. My son did a paper for his school that says, have you been to Europe? I have. I went to watch my dad race Ironman in Edinburgh. He worked so hard and he's talking about me sweating, but yet I stopped in the race to come give all the kids a high five and give my wife a kiss. This is framed in my pain cave. This is the kind of stuff, when I see that, I know I'm doing what I want to do. And but I want it to go beyond my kids, which is why I wrote the book. I wanted to leave something, a legacy out there for other kids. And look, you're going to face many hardships in life. That doesn't mean we quit. That doesn't mean life ends. That's when life really starts happening. Look at all the things that have happened to me post getting burned. I don't think I would be where I am today had I not been burned as a kid. I've had people say, Shay, if you were to have an opportunity, would you go back and relive that day, 1982? Would you walk across the street and tell her about the Yellow Jackets nest? I said, look, if you asked me when I was 12, maybe when I was 18, probably not. Who would want to voluntarily endure 35 plus surgeries, the years of rehab, and everybody making fun of you? But fast forward now, what have I missed out on? I had a great wrestling career, got inducted into the Hall of Fame under the Medal of Courage designation, 3-time boxing champion in college, 5-time ranked top 1% of Ironman 7.3 athletes, beautiful wife, 5 kids, great job. Tell me what I've missed out on. Nothing.
Nothing.
Did I have to work 5 times as hard as everybody else to be average? Hell yeah, I did. But guess what? It means 10 times as much because I had to work so hard for it. There is nothing in life that I've ever wanted given to me. I want to earn everything I've got because I want to cherish it. I want to know I earned this. And that's why I feel like racing and doing Ironmans as part of my vacations, I feel like I earned that vacation. It's hard for me.
Yes.
Right? It's hard for me to go on vacation and lay there in a beach chair. Man, if I went and did a race, then I've earned the right to lay in that beach chair afterwards.
Well, let me ask you this, switching gears a bit. What's your favorite distance racing triathlon? You like those 70.3s?
I do, because I believe, number one, I think it's a faster race. More people have the time to train for it. So you get a lot of these former collegiate All-Americans, which I wasn't, right? I was, and it's more manageable and conducive to being a spouse and a parent. As a father of 5, my time is limited. When I was doing Kona, I had 4 kids under 6. And I started feeling really selfish at the end. I would wake up at 4 o'clock on Saturday and do a 7-hour training. And when I would come back after a 6-hour bike ride, the kids were out playing in the yard with my wife. And I was like, God, I don't want to go finish this workout. I feel bad. I need to be out there in that yard. And I said, all right, stick to your plan. Finish Kona, go out strong, leave on a high note. And that's why after Kona in 2012, I had a great race. There's nothing I could have done differently to make it better. I couldn't have
Yeah.
trained any harder. There's no regrets. So I didn't want to tarnish that. But the 70.3 distance, I can get all my training before they wake up,
Yeah, it's perfect.
So I love that distance. It works for me. I feel like I'm a father, and then my kids can see me training. And Mike, I don't know if you know this, but I do 100% of my training in my basement in the pain cave. And I do that so I can be accessible to my kids. Up until a year ago, my little one would come stop me. Hey, Dad, I need a diaper change. And so I'd go change a diaper, then finish the work.
Yeah.
So these are just small concessions you make.
Yeah, I do the same thing with, I do 100% of my cycling indoors, just so like on those long ride days, I can be up and like you said, it does involve changing diapers. It does involve cooking breakfast. It does involve turning the TV on or getting their toy down or whatever else. Yep. But you're right. Makes a huge difference to be able to do that at home.
It's huge. And then if there's a, heaven forbid, an emergency, you're there. If you're out on a 100-mile bike ride, chances are you're 2-3 hours away. So how would you know or be able to get anywhere if needed? So I just think as a parent, I feel like I'm doing my part to be accessible and not to put myself in unnecessary risky situations. I'm not worried about somebody hitting me on my bike, which I've been hit before. And so by doing all the training in the pain cave, I'm here.
Yeah. What's your favorite race out of all of them?
Patagonia is top of the list. It's definitely a top 3. I do think the best venue I've been to, just everything about it was just unbelievable. Was Worlds. I think it was 2015. It was in Zelensee, Austria. I know I'm saying it wrong, but
oh yes, that looks like a beautiful spot,
dude. I mean, they kept saying you're racing in a postcard. You absolutely are. You're swimming in a glacier lake. You're biking through the Austrian Alps. You're riding through these Bavarian neighborhoods that, you truly feel Tour de France. The roads are like 1.5 car lengths wide. People are standing beside the road cheering you on. Everything about it was magical, but it's crazy because that same race, when I did it, they still have it. 2 years ago, it got canceled because of snow. The day I did it was the hottest day on record. It was 92 degrees. And I was so dehydrated. I was hallucinating on the run. And then it was snowing, 2 years after that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane when you race up in the mountains. So what's next for you? You've accomplished so much in your life. What are you doing next, and what are you looking forward to?
So my goal every year is to qualify for 70.3 Worlds. I've qualified this year, assuming that goes on. That's in New Zealand. I told all my kids I'm taking them.
Oh, nice.
But, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for it, but somehow we're going to make it happen, And it's also I've had the privilege of earning the top 1% rank in the past 5 years, so I'd like to keep that going. And then I want to earn or complete all 6 continents, racing Ironman. So hopefully we'll have that done next year. But for me, it's just, I want to watch my kids excel in sports and in school. And I don't even care if they're good in sports. I just want them to participate and enjoy competing, right? I just want them to experience what I've experienced. It has nothing to do with what place you finish. Because I'm going to tell you, I see a lot of people finishing close to last. Man, they are having so much fun. I'm jealous watching them on the finish line.
Yes.
You've seen it, like that Kona finish, at the 17-hour mark.
That's when the real is so cool to see.
But it's just the symbolism that goes into completing any kind of endurance event. That you truly suffered, you endured, you fought back the demons, you've proven yourself you can do anything. So I just want to make sure that I foster and nurture that within my kids and can help nourish that going forward.
Well, Shay, you got a beautiful story, man. Your spirit is something that motivates the hell out of me, which is why I love calling you a friend. Where can people find you, and how can they get in contact with you and find out what you're doing?
So you can contact me through my website, Shay, SHAYESKEW.com. You can find me on Facebook, Mr. Shay, and then letter S, letter Q. That's the phonetic spelling of my last name. Same handle on Instagram. And then if you want to look for me on LinkedIn, that's great too. I'm real active on LinkedIn because I'm in the healthcare sector. And then this Friday, or on April 24th, I don't know if this will when this airs, but I'm doing a fundraiser for Ironman Foundation. It's called 4x4x48. It's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
That's
straight.
insane. I love it. Well, thanks, Shay. And we'll put all those links in the show notes so everybody can see how to get a hold of you and make it easier for them too. But any last words of wisdom or parting advice as we go for our age group athletes?
Well, I just want to thank you, sir, for your service to our country and to all the service men and women out there doing what they do. Man, I just can't put into words the gratitude for the sacrifices you guys make day in, day out to give me what I have in this life. But just to tell these age groupers, look, hardship is part of life. Don't fight it. Embrace it. Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. I love it. Good notes to go out on. Well, once again, Shay, good hanging with you. And I look forward to when this social distancing thing is over and our paths cross again through the Ironman world. So until then, take care, brother.
See you, brother. Thanks, man.
Alrighty, that concludes today's episode of the Age Groupies Podcast with me, Lindsay Hiken, and my co-host, Mike Ergo. We really hope you enjoyed it. You can follow the show on Instagram at Age Groupies, join our Age Groupies page on Facebook, and look us up by name, Lindsay Hiken and Mike Ergo on Strava. If you have questions, comments, or topic ideas, feel free to email us at agegroupies@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, as this really helps us get more exposure while we try to grow this little venture. And of course, if you have friends you think might like the show, please be sure to share it with them. But for now, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.